Welcome back to episode 3 of the Jeremy Arel podcast. And today we are here with a special guest. As you already know, that's D-Lo over there. But today our special guest today will be Josiah Grant joining in.
First of all, thank you for having me. But now I'm excited, get to talk about sports with the guys. So what more can I ask for?
We have another episode, Jeremy.
Another one.
Glad to be back. And, hey, it's been a good week in the NBA, so I'm excited to talk.
I agree. I couldn't agree more. This is such a big week in the NBA, like you said. So let's just dive right on into our first major topic right now. It's coming time to March. It's end of February. We ended the All-Star week. We're passing the midpoint of the season. We're now pushing into playoff time. The playoffs is now heating up. We are now seeing which teams are formulating to be the number one seed, which is going to be going to the play-in. What are we looking at, guys? So let's start with the Western Conference so far, the Wild Wild West.
I think this will be the final 8. I think where it stands right now, I think all of these teams are going to make it all to the playoffs. I'm surprised to see the Memphis Grizzlies at the number 2 seed. I'm not going to lie to you. They spent half their games without playing with Ja Morant.
Yeah.
And now Ja being there, it makes that team a lot better. And they have so much chemistry. And they know how to close out close games. They had a close game against the Suns the other night. And they just play well, throughout the whole stretch. So, they're going to be a problem.
I'm looking at the standings right now, and one thing I could say, this is for more future tense that we could probably get on later in the podcast, but the Rockets and the Grizzlies over some time are going to be a problem. They're young, especially Amen Thompson. He's on the Rockets, right?
Correct.
Yeah,
He's a problem.
I definitely agree. Yeah. I agree. That Rockets team right there is probably everybody right now in the top 4 standings of that Western Conference is probably going to make a deep run in the playoffs for sure. For the Houston Rockets themselves, like you said, the very young crew. I mean, this team right here is probably the scariest team in the future. Fred VanVleet, Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks. You got if you get a healthy Jabari Smith Jr., this team will be a problem. Şengün is a great guy as well. And that Rockets team has a very fulfilled roster for sure. This team might be a championship contending team, but the injuries they have sustained throughout the year is very crazy. The Nuggets also, on the other hand, like we said the last episode, they are a scary team, a very underrated team you do not hear a lot about. And
I'm not going to lie, I didn't mean to cut you off. I ain't gonna lie, I think the Timberwolves might lose that 7th seed, and the Kings, the Warriors might move up, and then the Kings will take that 8th seed.
I don't think so.
The Mavericks.
I don't think they're going that far this year. The Timberwolves, I love Anthony Edwards. I love him. But ain't happening this year. But you know what is happening this year, though? Shai winning the ring this year. He's winning the ring. Ring him. It's a ring for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. You already know. OKC, we're going OKC in 5 this year. We going all the way to the chip. Shai's going to win a ring. J-Dub's getting the ring. Chet getting the ring. It's over. It's over. So let's move on to the Eastern Conference right now. We look at the Cleveland Cavaliers, number 1 seed. Reigning champions, the Boston Celtics, number 2. But you look down the seeding ranks right now. You got the Knicks, Pacers, Bucks, Pistons, the Pistons were one of the worst teams last year. The Magic are up there, the Heat, and the Hawks. We got the Bulls maybe making a play-in run as well. What do you guys see? What do you guys predict? What do you guys forecast for the Eastern Conference? We'll start with Joe.
The Pistons, they're on a good roll right now too. Cade, he's averaging 25, 7 and 6, something like that. He's doing what he has to do and more. What I am surprised is I feel like the Bucks and the Sixers, if the Sixers didn't have all those unfortunate injuries, I feel like they should have been within the top 8. The Knicks deserve where they be. Go New York. The pieces they've been adding on, especially with Cat and Brunson, they're, I don't know, probably one of the best duos in the league right now. Top 3, in my opinion. The Pacers, they had a bad start, but they've silently and steadily been, doing their thing. They haven't been too talked about.
Yeah, I agree with all your points.
The Wizards come back and take the chip.
I agree right there with him. Mr. D-Lo, before we get into this real quick, let's just speak about this right here. The Philadelphia 76ers, 1 of 9 on the last 10 games right here. Pandemic P, he's back into the NBA. What's your thoughts on Pandemic P?
Well, Paul George, my thoughts about Paul George I think he's I think he's starting to lose some of his spark, and I think he's starting to realize it. Not too long ago in this podcast, he announced that he was going to take a break from doing that, to focus on the season, which is kind of like a question because it's like, why wait until like you guys are so like down? Like you wait until you guys are like in the gutter for you to be like, oh yeah, let me lock in, let me just focus.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that should have been his approach during this season, like the beginning before the season started, because this is like a make or break year for him. Last year on the Clippers, I'm not saying he didn't do bad, but a lot of people think Paul George didn't step up when he needed to on the Clippers.
I
You
agree.
know,
I
during
agree.
his whole tenure, and this is the year like he was probably the hottest free agent and everybody, was trying to take chances on him. He eventually signed with the Sixers, him, Embiid, Maxey, and then people thought they were just going to make a playoff run or can potentially compete with the top three teams in the East, the Cavs, Celtics, or Knicks. Need to do whatever he needs to do to lock in, then come in next season with a whole different mentality and approach, so he can help Joel and Maxey reach that goal in making the NBA Finals and potentially winning it.
I think it's over. It's over for the 76ers. It's over. This was probably the worst pickup they could have ever acquired for the 76ers. This was the worst pickup I've ever seen, actually. When you go out and play the Brooklyn Nets, and you play 37 minutes against the Brooklyn Nets and score 2 points, 1 of 7? Come on now, on 37 minutes. That's Paul George right there? No, no thank you. You see it this entire season. I mean, he's been hurt. Most of the season he's been hurt. But when he's not hurt, he comes in, he'll play about 30 minutes, give us 9, maybe 15 on a good night. I mean, we saw him play 42 minutes the other night, dropped 25. But he's shooting 43% on the field this year. This is probably when his worst shooting percentage of his career. Then you look at the star themselves, the former MVP, Joel Embiid, who can't even play more than 20 games this season. He has been hurt every week. He plays 2 games, he's hurt. And there's been a huge issue that he's overweight, just like Luka Doncic. But the thing is, it's an issue for the locker room right now. And you see Tyrese Maxey in the very beginning of the season. He was upset with Joel. So
Yes,
we just witnessed kind of like this movie 2 days ago. You know, we all heard about the biggest trade probably this NBA season against, with the Lakers and the Mavericks. And we finally got to see them match up the other night in LA. No Anthony Davis, but Anthony Davis did show up. They gave him a little tribute video. So we did get to see Luka suit up against his old team, dropping 19, 15, and 12, a triple-double. Wasn't very efficient shooting, but it's okay. They came out with the W. Austin Reeves had a 20-piece, and LeBron had 27. What do we see from this Lakers team? Is this team a team we should watch out for in the playoffs? Or is this a trio that we're looking at? Or how do we feel about this?
First of all, absolutely, this is a team you should look at in the playoffs. We've seen what Luka could do on Dallas alone, without help, without Kyrie, years before. Now just imagine it with LeBron on his side, and then you have
good point.
You have Reeves averaging. I saw the other day he's averaging what, like 20. It's in the low 20s, but coming from Reeves, the only thing they really need is a big man. I feel like Rui, he's stepping up. Ever since since he's been traded on, I felt like he's been very slept on. From what I've seen him do on the Wizards, I knew he was going to be a good piece on being added to the Lakers, but he never really got that chance. Always coming off and on the bench. But now he's really starting to step up. Luka's Luka. Keep doing what he's doing. Health wise, put him on that Zion diet, maybe he'll lose a couple pounds, but so then he's doing what he's doing, he's still hooping. Who's their big right now? Since I know they signed off Christian Wood.
Jackson Hayes.
Still Jackson Hayes.
Jackson Hayes. Ever since he came into the league, I don't know why he was picked so high. He was skinny, he was frail, he couldn't shoot. He was really athletic, but I always knew he wasn't gonna develop a shot. I'm excited to see what Luka and LeBron, just both of them, what they could do in the playoffs themselves. That's gonna be very entertaining.
I agree with Joe saying with the Lakers and like the Luka and LeBron connection. Like whenever LeBron's in the playoffs, you can never count him out.
Yeah.
Never,
And
never,
just having
never,
Luka.
ever,
Yeah.
ever, ever. And now he has Luka Doncic. Like, think about it. Like, I don't think
Four decades.
LeBron since Kyrie. I don't think LeBron has had a guard that can like score at a dominant fashion
Nope.
like since Kyrie. So I think LeBron having that and like Jeremy said, like when he pawned the question, it's just the efficiency that's kind of bothering me from Luca. But look, it's going to get there. It's going
Yeah.
to get. I have faith that he's going to like eventually, find his scoring way. Because I think, like I told Jeremy last podcast, I don't think he just want to be in the team. Like first game, I don't think he just wanted to shoot 30 shots and like drop 40. I think he wanted to like do the other stuff like pass, rebound, get
Yeah.
assists, get LeBron going and stuff like that.
Get comfy
But
within the team.
yeah, get comfortable within the team. So yeah, that's why I think he's doing like even he's still doing it right now. But yeah, I just need him to like find his efficient ways. And I think if Luca could get like efficient, start being dominant as far as the scoring that we used to him doing, and then you got LeBron next to that, that can be scary. The only problem I have with this team right now is I don't know how good are they going to be on defense because of the Jackson Hayes being at center. That's my only like really, problem with this team. Because like what Joe said about Rui, or Austin Reeves, they've been stepping up since that trade. Like really, like I mean, I'm actually impressed from Rui, and I think Austin Reeves is starting to become like really that guy. Like yeah, that's my only problem. Like with the Lakers, it's the defense.
I have an issue with the Lakers and Luka. I don't think this team's going far in the playoffs. That's what I see with the Lakers right here. I mean, 27% from the field against the Hornets. 35% against the Mavericks. 1 of 9 against the Hornets from 3. 14% from 3 against the Hornets. Against the Mavericks. I'm sorry. I mean, he's struggling. I mean, yeah, he's having 14 points, 16 points, but he's struggling from the field. So is Austin Reeves. I mean, LeBron has to really now try and carry this load Luka's doing. I mean, yeah, Luka is getting rebounds and facilitating, but that hurts a team right there when you're shooting 16 shots a game and you're only hitting 2. And you're shooting 9 threes and you only hit 1. That's an issue I have with the Lakers right there, just with Luka down its efficiency. I mean, okay, yes, Luka could probably start hitting again. That would change. But the main issue I have about Luka Doncic, and that will be the downfall of this Lakers team, is the reason why the Mavericks traded him in the first place. He can't play defense. Look at him last year in the playoffs. Every team wanted him on an island. Look what Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown did. They got him on an island last year, and that's how they won the finals. All they got to do is set an off-ball screen, have him switch, and it's free money right there. Look at why the Hornets won the game last week. Why did the Hornets win? They put LaMelo on. They purposely put LaMelo on Luka, and he was baking him the whole time. It wasn't just LaMelo. It was Miles Bridges. It was the whole team putting Luka on an island, and they were just frying him the entire game. And that's an issue I have with Luka, and it's something like it will change. I mean, maybe LeBron can teach him how to play defense. Maybe Vando can teach him how to play defense. But until then, that is not going to work for a team in the Western Conference. You got players like SGA who love to isolate. He will fry him all day. Kevin Durant. Like, come on. You got a bunch of these guys who love to just continuously isolate, and Luka guarding him, it's free game all game long. LaMelo went for what, 30 that game? Well, not 30, yeah. like 26. Miles Bridges had 29. Come on. Like, that's the only issue I have with the Los Angeles Lakers and Luka Doncic. Maybe if he could play defense, that might be different. But the efficiency, that's 27%, 14% from 3. Hell no. Now, moving on to a player who I just mentioned, Kevin Durant. It was just recently reported that this might be his last year as a Phoenix Sun. What is your guys' thoughts on Kevin Durant's timeline here with the Phoenix Suns? We've seen this before. Kevin Durant bouncing between teams. He was a Thunder. He was a Golden State Warrior. He was a Brooklyn Net. He was a Phoenix Sun. Where do we see him going?
Let me start off by saying KD is always welcome back to the Warriors. Like it wasn't like no bad terms, no bad blood with like the fans at least in him. He just had problems with Draymond Green and the organization and the way how they like dealt with the situation that they had against the Clippers and the arguing and the blaming and saying that we never needed you in the first place. Like, who just says that? Like the guy who won us 2 championships back to back, then took us to another one. And you saying we need him? That's kind of ignorant from Draymond to say that. But I think KD will be open to the idea. I just think we have to really pay him a lot of money. And I ain't gonna lie, with the way how the Warriors cap looking right now, because we giving like Curry this like crazy contract, then we extended Jimmy. We extended Jimmy after the trade. So if we can find a way to create a balance, that'll be cool. But if we don't have the money, then I think we should just let KD be and like let him exploit out his career, because I don't want us to be in a situation where we overpaying KD, which I'm not going to say I'm always up and having KD. I just don't want to have like all that money or potentially like trying to give away our picks or just, I don't want us to be like in a bad cap situation for the future. Now, with that being said, I think in a world, if he does go to Golden State somehow, some way, oh yeah, we're going back to that championship.
No doubt. No doubt. No doubt.
We're going back to that championship. And I'm not going to say it's going to be easy. I think it's going to be harder because now, like you said, the OKCs of the world, the Nuggets, like there's a lot of teams than it was when we had the first KD run. So in a world, if we do get KD back, I say we go to the championship finals, potentially win, but it's going to be harder than all the other ones we ever had because of the situation we are in right now. But if KD just, which I think the most likely is going to happen, KD's going to like test the free agency, go to another team. I don't know. I don't know. There's a lot of teams that are in need for a KD. It's just I don't know where KD heart lies at, because if Phoenix can work for him, if Brooklyn can work for him, I don't know what team can honestly work for him, because it's not because of the organization, it's because of the teams he's been on. He paired up with Bradley Beal, James Harden, Kyrie Irving, like all of these guys, and I don't know. He didn't win anything with them. The Nets one, I'll kind of give them a pass because they were injured. They barely got the time to really play with each other and stuff, like build chemistry. But this Phoenix Suns one, like this run, it's been a disappointment, Jeremy. And like I said, like in the previous podcast, Booker got to get out of Phoenix.
Needs to go. Needs to.
Like both of them gotta go because they don't have a winning culture. But with KD in his situation, I'm just like, if Phoenix can satisfy you, if the Nets can satisfy you, the only teams I really see him going to is either some like weird like coincidence, like with the Heat, maybe. But I think personally, if I was KD, I would go to one of my former teams.
I agree.
Go back to OKC or go back to the Warriors.
I don't want him to come back here. I don't want him to come back here, though. We don't need a KD. Yeah, we don't need him. We don't need him. Like you said, KD's welcome anywhere. It's Kevin Durant. This guy has been such a key player in the NBA since the day he was drafted into the NBA. And look what the impact he had for OKC. He took him to the finals. The impact he had for Golden State took him to three finals, but the third one, he got hurt in Toronto. That's not even his fault. Maybe, we don't know. That might have been a three-peat right there for Golden State. We don't know, though. We saw what he did in Brooklyn. To this day, I will always say if his foot was not that big, they would have went to the finals that year because they eliminated the team who won the finals. Yeah, no, they didn't eliminate. They lost to the team who won the finals, who was the Milwaukee Bucks. So I still think to this day, I don't know which one's worse. Which big three is worse? This big three in Phoenix or this big three in Brooklyn? Because, I mean, again, they were injured, but this big three in Brooklyn has been the worst one ever. I mean, Bradley Beal doesn't even start. That's an issue I have, first off. Bradley Beal left the Wizards to go on the bench. I mean, Devin Booker, I love D-Book, but he needs to get out of Phoenix. It's a trap. There's nothing that's been brought in. I mean, yes, they had that finals run, but it's nothing else has came from that entire finals run. Your whole team is basically gone. Cam Johnson's gone. Mikal Bridges is gone. CP3 is gone. I mean, the whole team is gone. Even Jay Crowder's gone. So it's to a point. It's like, what do we see from Kevin Durant? Well, he might end up on a team something random. Maybe he might end up back in the Bay for maybe his final run. It's gonna be interesting this free agency to see what trades are gonna happen.
I'm gonna piggyback off of what you said, Jeremy. I do believe if you put Scotty and RJ next to KD and potentially Cooper Flag, and if Cooper Flag doesn't, if they don't get Cooper Flag, another top 10 lottery pick, the Raptors could get some cooking. And one thing for sure, this is definitely KD's last year on the Suns, and what I hope he goes to, or where he goes to play next year, my top three, my number one is the Hornets, number two is Magic, and my third is the Pistons. Mostly the Pistons.
Hey D'Lo, I think it's time for KD to come back home. I think it's time for him to come back to DC. Imagine that right there. I think it's time for him to come back home.
I was thinking about that.
We was thinking that.
What my take? It's just like, I was going to say it, but like in countless of interviews, when he gets asked about DC, he's like, "Oh, I've already been home. Like that's where I grew up. I don't want to go back to where I grew up." I'm like, bro, if he was to go to the Wizards right now, I just feel as though the Wizards can like at least get somewhere in the playoffs. And I know, like Joe, I ain't gonna lie, I didn't see the Detroit Pistons as an option, but now that you say it, that might actually be a great fit. That might actually be a great fit.
Yep.
Yeah, because I mean, shoot, they need somebody like that, and they like damn near complete, you know. And I kind of feel the same thing about the Wizards. It's just the Wizards are so like inconsistent, like.
But think about it though, with KD on the team there, you pair him up with Jordan Poole. You already got a defender in Marcus Smart, Bala Coulibaly. Oh my gosh, D'Lo, you know what time it is? Himothy of the week. Himothy of the week. If you are new to the podcast, don't know what that is when we basically pick a NBA player who's been playing outstanding basketball for the week of the podcast. Last week, we picked Karl Anthony Towns, the big bodega, and Trae Young himself. I'm saying, go ahead and tell us who Himothy of the week is.
So my Himothy of the week is the one and only PG guard, 6'6", from Oklahoma State, a point guard for the Detroit Pistons, Cade Cunningham. Here's why I got my boy at the Himothy of the Week award, all right? So, my boy is averaging 25 points per game, 6 rebounds per game, 9 assists per game, and he's shooting 45% from the field. The Detroit Pistons are currently the 6th seed in the Eastern Conference, and they're currently at an 8-game winning streak. They just beat the Boston Celtics yesterday, like in convincing fashion. And Cade Cunningham is the leader of this team. The Detroit Pistons, prior to drafting him, they were a laughingstock. I mean, look, like no one used to like watch Detroit Pistons games. Bro, they weren't even in the playoffs. Not even in close. They were the worst team in the league. I remember when Cade Cunningham got drafted, because I've been a Cade fan since he was hooping at Montverde in high school. And I watched him at Oklahoma State. He's always been one of my favorite players. I remember when he got drafted, people were like, "Oh yeah, Jalen Green should have went first, this and that," and that's why they got that little beef guy going on. Yeah, they was like Jalen Green should have been first. Don't get me wrong, Jalen Green is hooping. Don't get me wrong, but Cade's been a leader among men. His stats for the past 4 games: he had 21 points, 4 rebounds, 11 assists against the Celtics, 32 points. 9 rebounds, 7 assists, 3 steals against the Los Angeles Clippers. And he had 38 points, 7 rebounds, 12 assists, 3 blocks against the Atlanta Hawks. And he had 38 points, 7 rebounds, 9 assists, 4 steals versus the number 1 seeded Cavs. My boy almost dropped a triple-double against the Cavaliers, a 38 triple-double. And I'm not going to lie, it's scary because, I mean, seeing a guy at his height, I mean, I know 6'6" at point guard, that's pretty tall. But his ability to play make, he doesn't need to score. His ability to get Malik Beasley this hot, Jalen Durant being the enforcer in the paint for the Detroit Pistons. Like, he's just really been leading the team, and I'm like really excited to see where he goes in the future. I mean, hey, he got selected All-Star this year. That's a step. And they're going to the playoffs this year. They're most definitely a dark horse team in the Eastern Conference, and I can't wait to see what they do in the playoffs. But yeah, no, look, the future is bright for this man. Like, this young man's been grinding. He hasn't complained. He was on a worse team, but instead of complaining, his team got better. He trusted the organization. He stayed. He's staying committed to his team, and I think he wants his team to succeed more than himself. And the stats that I just, told you guys shows it. So, yeah. So, look, Cade is going to be that guy in the future. He's the future of the league, and he might be one of the best point guards in the league. And then, I mean, he is one of the best point guards in the league, but he might be up there like number 1 and number 2 once Curry and Kyrie gets out the league. But yeah, no, the future is bright for that young man. So yeah, he's my Himothy of the Week award.
But we're gonna clap it up for Mr. D'Lo himself.
Thanks, Shot.
I'm gonna pick, also from the Eastern Conference himself, Mr. Turbo himself, Mr. Tyrese Halliburton. That's who I'm going to go with for this week. Tyrese Halliburton has played some tremendous basketball this week. I mean, let's just talk about it for a second here. A great offensive player. He can facilitate. He can score. He can play defense. I mean, look at this against the Washington Wizards, had 20-7. Against Memphis, 22-5-9. Against the Clippers, 29-12. Against Denver, give him 19-15. And just last night against the Toronto Raptors, listen to the stat line right here. 33 points, 11 assists, 80% from the field, and he shot 12 of 15. Let that sink in for a second. And you think he's just in the paint? No, this brother can shoot too. 7 of 9 from 3. That's 77% from 3. This guy was hooping last night, and no, it wasn't no free throws even added. Just joking. It was 2 free throws added. Tyrese Halliburton definitely deserves it this week, and I want to keep seeing him hooping like this. This was a 30 bomb he had, an efficient 30 bomb. We don't really see efficient 30 bombs happen in today's NBA like that anymore. So I love how he was hooping. Honorable mention also from the Detroit Pistons as well, Malik Beasley. Malik Beasley has been hooping this year. If you got him in fantasy, still a free agent if you still got him in free agency in fantasy basketball, please go pick him up. Josiah, who you got?
This might be a little bit biased, but 6'9", coming out of St. Vincent, St. Mary.
Oh my God, Glaze.
I got LeBron. I mean, I've been seeing online what he's been doing. I tried to pick someone else, but the stats really they speak volumes. I mean, he does play the minutes, but at his age, how much he's producing, 26 points against the Hornets with 7 rebounds, 11 assists, 1 steal, 2 blocks. Against the Trailblazers, 40 points, 8 rebounds, and 4 assists. 40. I'm just saying it again. 25 points against the Nuggets, 9 boards and 5 assists, and 27 points against the Mavs with 12 rebounds. And this is coming out of the All-Star break. So, I mean, most people most All-Stars, this is really their chance to really prove themselves for the season, make their final stretch before the playoff appearance. And I feel like LeBron is really, stepping up more than he has, really showing his team, showing the league why he's a leader. he's been doing a little bit more than average, and for him, and that's saying a lot because what he does is above average for probably 95% of the league. So I just feel like what he's doing, not only at his age, but just in general, if it was any other player, I would give him Timothy of the week. So I got LeBron James for me.
Hey, episode 3, it was lit. You know what I'm saying? So
Episode 3 was lit. It was lit. Episode 4 coming out next week, Friday. Episode 3 is going to be out when you guys hear this, which is going to be on Friday. So next week, Friday, be there for episode 4. Until then, y'all, that's D-Lo, that's Joe. Everybody, peace out.
peace out.
Safety, love.